Could new discovery from Justin Baldoni's publicist end up as being criminal charges against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, we've lost some talk.
Hi and welcome to Flossom Talk. I'm Shashti Floor, journalist, Hollywood truth teller, and your voice of reason in a town built on delusion. Happy Sunday, everyone. First of all, thank you to all my new subscribers and thank you to the new members of Team Flossom. You can also join if you press the join button below. And of course, thanks for all your DMs on Instagram and your emails and all your engagement here on YouTube. So there's a lot to talk about today, even though it's Sunday. There was a new ruling in the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case. The judge agreed with Baldoni again. And there's a lot of really exciting developments here. Could new discovery from Justin Baldoni's publicist end up as being criminal charges against Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds? This is pretty interesting, you guys, so stay tuned for that. Also, Perez Hilton was giving an award for fighting Blake Lively and free speech from ACLU. Amazing news, congratulations to him. And of course, we have to talk about Taylor Swift and Blake Lively. Now Blake Lively liked the post on Taylor Swift's Instagram and the press is going bananas. I have some more interesting facts on all of this and that song Cancelled that I spoke about on Friday. And of course, we have to talk about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. And there's some new stuff going on there too. It's quite disturbing. And I'm so confused about this alleged girlfriend of Keith Urban, his guitarist, who really hasn't come out and said anything yet. But one of you guys did some digging here, which really gives me some clues. Also, one of you guys reached out to Tom Arnold to hear if that story that Ryan Reynolds have been telling about him is actually true. And he responded. But let's get to this new ruling first. So as you might remember, Justin Baldoni and the Wayfair parties filed a motion for judgment last week. And that means that they're asking the judge to look at all the legal stuff, only law here, no evidence, nothing, none of the other stuff going on, only the legal stuff in Blake Lively's case, and dismiss parts of it and say, you know, you should look at it and rule on only the law because what she's actually accusing of us here, she doesn't have any legal grounds for it. So they asked the judge to do that. And then Blake Lively's team said, hey, judge, no, don't let them do that. And we need more time here. And the judge said, no, you're not going to get more time. And I am going to look at this. And he's going to look at it at the same times as he looks at summary judgment, which is when he looks at the entire case altogether and toss out parts of it before it goes to trial. So this is good for Baldoni. And as you know, last week, Justin Baldoni's publicist, Jennifer Abel, was able to continue her case against Stephanie Jones, which was also Baldoni's publicist. But instead of following her client, she decided to team up with Blake Lively and leak Jennifer Abel's phone to Blake Lively's team through this really shady subpoena that this company called Van Zandt filed against Stephanie Jones' company. It turns out that Van Zandt is owned by Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, and Ryan Reynolds is the CEO of the company. And this is where it gets really interesting, because now when Judge Lyman has ruled the way he did, it means that he is actually interlinking these two cases. Because there's two cases here. One is Blake Lively against the Wayfair parties, including Jennifer Abel. And the other case is Jennifer Abel suing Stephanie Jones for basically stealing her phone and her personal data. And that's the case now that can really help Baldoni. And as you might remember, Baldoni's team asked to get access to all the communications from this Van Zandt sham lawsuit before it actually happened. He wanted to see how the parties were communicating here. Did Van Zandt communicate with Stephanie Jones directly? Did Stephanie Jones communicate with Blake Lively's team directly? What's the role of all these people here? What went on? And the judge said to Baldoni, no, you can't do that because you asked me too late, basically. But now Jennifer Abel is going to be able to access all that information, and it looks terrible for Blake and Ryan if she can prove that what they did here was shady. So she needs to basically be able to prove that Van Zandt was not functioning as a legitimate business. And as we know, Van Zandt didn't really do anything. It was just like a shell company. And you also have to remember that they filed this lawsuit against 10 anonymous people. And the day before Blake Lively filed her CRD complaint, her lawsuit, was they dropped everything and pretended like nothing happened. That's another reason why this looks so shady. So if she can prove that the only purpose of this lawsuit was to get hold of Jennifer Abel's phone, that's major. And then if she can prove that Ryan and Blake knew this, that can make them personally liable. And that means this could be criminal charges against Blake and against Ryan. Of course, we know that this is what happened here. There's no other reason for that lawsuit, but this is what Jennifer Abel now has to prove. She has to prove that they knew that this was the only intent of that lawsuit. And if she finds out that Ryan and Blake was involved in any step of the way here, she could also add them to her lawsuits. I feel like this legal feud is never going to end. So if she can add them to her lawsuit, she could accuse them of invasion of privacy. She can accuse them of misuse of subpoena, abuse of process, which is really serious. And she can accuse them of conspiracy to violate California Penal Code 502, which is unauthorized computer access. Can you imagine what this would mean for Ryan Reynolds' business, his Maximum Effort, the marketing company, all his other businesses, and Blake's as well, if they have criminal charges against them? It could be devastating. Anyways, we have to talk about Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban and this guitarist that it seems like he's been having a little thing with, or did he? I don't know. It's a little unclear, but there's a lot of clues here right now. And one of you guys sent me something very, very interesting that I'll get into. But before we talk about that, I wanted to thank the sponsor of this video, Love and Pies, which is my new secret little cozy hobby. Imagine this, your mom's cafe has just burned down under mysterious circumstances. And it's up to you to rebuild it from scratch. And while doing that, you're baking pies, serving customers, and redecorating the cafe just the way you want it. And you also uncover secrets and maybe even run into your high school crush. And right now is the perfect time to jump in because Halloween has officially arrived in Appleton. I'm really looking forward to playing the spooky in-game events myself. There are limited time spooky cute decorations, a special Halloween storyline, and exclusive rewards. I've already been decorating my cafe with pumpkins and cozy autumn vibes. It's basically like playing inside a mystery novel with pumpkin spice lattes. The best part, the game is totally free to download on iOS and Android, but hurry up, you need to reach level 8 to see the spooky content. And once it's gone, it's gone. Download now by using my link or this QR code and reach day 3 within a week to claim a sweet treat, 200 energy and 50 gems. Don't miss our cozy, spooky, limited time event. Reach level 8 to unlock and play. All right, so if you watched my video about Nicole and Keith and this new guitarist, you might have seen that she posted this video on her Instagram. That was kind of a sign that there was something maybe going on between them. She was super excited when he changed the lyrics in the song that he wrote for Nicole to be about her. He was giving her a shout out and she was super excited about it. And then the media jumped on this and said, oh, this is the girl that Keith has moved on with because there's been rumors that he has moved on already and Nicole apparently knew about this and now everything is pointing at Maggie Baum. So Leslie, thank you so much for sending me this. She's been doing some investigating things here and she sent me this reel that Maggie posted about 5 months ago where she said, day in the life on tour with Keith Urban, see you Georgia tonight. And then someone commented here. Remember, this is 5 months ago. And the comment says, congratulations to the new couple. I'm glad you're having a great time. Then Maggie responds, haha, you're right, it's a blast. Then these other comments are newer, where someone says, hi, snagged yourself a rich guy, well done, blah, blah, blah. But the other comments are from 5 months ago. And here's some more comments from about 4 months ago. And that someone said, sorry he let you go, you were amazing. And then she says, he didn't. And then she responds, best of luck to you then, sorry. I don't know if that means that he let her go out of his band or whatever, but I do think this could be seen as some clues that there was something going on here. And what I found so interesting about Maggie here is that she hasn't come out and said anything yet. If they weren't dating or if they weren't a couple, she would have come out and said something about it. And here's something interesting. The Daily Mail actually did a story on her and saying that she already has a boyfriend. So she posted about this guy who's called Cameron Coley on March 7 earlier this year. And she said, 1 year, my love, a lifetime more. And there were some cute pictures of the two of them together. And the Daily Mail went to her house. They did a lot of digging here, trying to figure out if she's actually with Keith. And none of the neighbors had seen Keith in the area or whatever. So no one has really confirmed anything yet. But what I find so weird is that if she's not with him, why hasn't she commented on this? Maybe in the beginning she was like, oh, this is exciting. They're thinking that I am with him and I'm getting a lot of attention from this. But the attention is only negative. So why would she want that? Wouldn't help her career in any way? And I just don't understand why she would ever want that. And then why hasn't she responded to any comments on this if it's not true? If something is not true and you're being accused of being like a homewrecker, then you would come out and say that, no, that's not true. Now that's why I start believing that there is actually something here. Why is she just keeping silent here? But then one of you guys commented on that video saying that as an Aussie, I've seen where Keith swapped out lyrics in The Fighter with who he's performing with. For example, singer Jessica Mauboy. Yeah, so he's done it before, so maybe it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. I'm so confused about this. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, there's stories about how much Keith hated Nicole doing that movie Baby Girl. He was not there for her during any of the premieres. He didn't go to Venice Film Festival. He didn't go to Toronto Film Festival. Apparently, he hated the movie. And I do understand why. And I remember in the beginning when the news broke that the two of them had split, he had said somewhere that there was a lack of intimacy in their relationship. And this movie is about a woman who cannot get satisfaction from her husband anymore. So she's looking for it somewhere else and she finds this young lover or whatever. But the fact that her husband cannot fulfill her in that way anymore, that's maybe something that Keith felt that he could relate to in some sense. Maybe that's why this subject was so sensitive to him. Maybe that's why he hung up the phone or on the Zoom call with these two radio hosts that I played for you in another episode where he was asked about Nicole's intimate scenes. Then it was with Zac Efron because there was another movie she had a young lover and he just did not want to talk about it. Apparently, though, someone told Page Six, a spokesperson for Urban, said that he actually didn't hang up on those two people. But there was no more explanation to it. So I don't know. I find it weird that he just disappeared and there was no more explanation. But they said, no, he didn't leave the call. So yeah, who knows where the truth lays here, you guys. Anyways, I just mentioned in my intro that Perez Hilton received an award from ACLU, which I think is just so amazing. And the reason for him receiving the Civil Rights Leadership Award was because he went up against Blake Lively. That is just the best news ever. So if you live abroad, maybe you don't know what ACLU is. That is a non-profit organization that defends and preserves individual rights and liberties guaranteed to all people in the United States by the Constitution and laws, including rights to free speech, privacy, equality, and religious freedom. So this is a very respected organization. And of course, if you follow this case, you know that Perez Hilton was subpoenaed by Blake Lively, and she really harassed him with this subpoena. It took him months to fight it. He was in 2 hearings by himself because he decided he didn't want to hire an attorney and spend $100,000 on trying to get this subpoena quashed. But Blake Lively's team kept pushing him, and at the second hearing, this person came up to him and said, I want to introduce you to someone at ACLU. Maybe they could represent you. And they did. And 5 minutes later, Blake Lively's team dropped the subpoena. So that proves to me that the only reason why they were bullying and harassing Perez was just to punish him. And now it looks so bad for them that he actually got an award from ACLU for fighting Blake Lively. This is amazing, you guys. I had Perez here on my channel a couple of weeks ago. I really, really support him in this. So a big congratulations to Perez. Also, as I said in the beginning, one of you guys, thank you, Jacqueline, so much for doing it. I was so surprised when you sent me this. So Tom Arnold actually got back to her when she reached out to him and asked him about this story that Ryan Reynolds keeps changing about him. If you didn't watch that video, you should probably watch it first. So last week I did a video about all these different interviews that Ryan Reynolds has done and changed up this story that involves Tom Arnold. And we didn't know where the truth was. And the details kept changing so much that I was like, how can you trust someone that keeps changing up the details of a story so much? So Jacqueline actually sent Arnold a message on Instagram and he responded. So she asked him and she said, there's a story that keeps changing from Ryan Reynolds. He states he made a joke about you on Late Night Talk and later ran into you in the lobby of his apartment building that he lives in. He said he apologized to you. Later, he sent a bottle of champagne to you after he ran into you again when you stated that you were a recovering alcoholic. Can you just confirm or deny that this happened? I'm just trying to get to the truth. Thank you. And then he responded, it's true. So at least we know that it's true that he ran into him and that he sent him a bottle. As you know, if you listen to my video, Ryan Reynolds changed up the story so much that it was a bottle. It went from one bottle of champagne to a case of champagne. So I don't know what the truth is, but I'm so excited that he actually responded to Jacqueline, and I tried to reach out to him now to get all the details straight of what actually the story is. He hasn't responded to me yet, but I'm hoping he will. So please, Tom Arnold, if you watch this, we want to hear exactly what happened here. Did Ryan Reynolds run into you in the lobby, or did your wife call him to tell him that you were a recovering alcoholic? Did he send you a letter, and did he send you a bottle of champagne, or was it actually an entire case? Okay, so we have to talk more about Blake Lively and Taylor Swift. Obviously, after this album dropped on Friday, people went crazy over analyzing all their lyrics, and I did an analysis on Friday about the song Cancelled, which I still believe is about Blake. Some people have said that it couldn't be about Blake because Taylor Swift recorded this album in 2024. And that's true. She did say that she did write all these songs and she did work with the producers in 2024. But that's everything here in Hollywood as well. You know, if you produce a movie, you can do changes up to very late in that process. And if she wanted to change up some of the stuff, some of the lyrics, for example, that's completely possible that she could do that and re-record some of it. So I still do believe that that song is a message to Blake. I don't think it's about Blake. I think it's a message to Blake. As I said, you can watch that entire episode that I posted on Friday if you're interested in my theory here. Another thing that's come to light here is that Candace Owens came out and said, hey, Taylor Swift used one of my phrases in that song. So when she did a deep dive into this drama, she said she used this phrase saying she girl bossed too close to the sun. And that's one of the things that Taylor Swift is singing in Cancelled. So Candace was like, hey, thanks, Taylor, for putting my phrase in there. I don't know if that was her inspiration, but if it was, since Candace is one of Blake's biggest critics, that doesn't look so great for Blake. I also saw this comment that I wanted to read on my channel with a person who was actually there, and she said, Shashti, at the cinema launch of the album yesterday, before Taylor introduced Cancelled, she explained she doesn't like people to be cancelled for saying a joke or something taken out of context, and she will support her cancelled friends. Then added, unless they have done something really bad. Then it cut to the video. And she said, and this person said that made it very clear to me she's not supporting Blake at all. I don't think, how could she support Blake? And the funny thing is now, after I think seeing all these headlines saying that, oh, this was a tribute or this was in support of Blake, which some people twisted it into being, Blake went into Taylor's Instagram and liked it. And now it's like headlines everywhere. Like Blake liked Taylor Swift's album. Oh my God, she's showing support back. Now they're friends. It's like, no, they're not friends. They're never going to be friends. And there's so many reasons for that. As you know, the whole blackmailing story, it's just like, it's so messy between them. She's never going to forgive Blake. And one of the reasons I'm saying that is from this old interview that I showed before where Taylor Swift is saying this.
You know, people go on and on about like you have to forgive and forget to move past something. No, you don't. You don't have to forgive and you don't have to forget to move on. You can move on without any of those things happening. You just become indifferent and then you move on.
Yeah, you don't have to forgive, you don't have to forget, you can just move on. If the person is toxic enough, you just move on. And I think she says it clearly here. She's never going to forgive Blake. Also, she said on the podcast with her fiance, Kelsey, the New Height podcast, she said something like,
information is power, I guess, unless all of your information is geared towards you thinking that everything is about you.
Which is basically what Blake Lively thinks. She thinks that the entire world organized a smear campaign against her because they actually like her, but then they got paid not to like her, to write bad stories about her, to post things, negative things about her on social media. Yeah, you know, it's crazy. And on the same podcast, she also talks about how some of her friends who see just one negative comment online and they let it ruin their day. Yeah, which obviously is about Blake as well. Blake has now turned off most of her comments. She's only leaving the positive there and she's turning off all the negative comments, which is again like either just turn off your comment like Taylor has done or just leave them up. It's just so fake to see like, oh, you have 13 people saying, we love you, Blake, on each post. And all the rest of the people are just muted because they don't like her.
I have so many like friends or acquaintances or people who are like, they'll see one comment they don't like,
right,
and it will ruin their day. It'll ruin their night.
It's so ironic now, looking back at the song that Blake Lively chose for It Ends With Us, Taylor Swift's My Tears Ricochet, that she chose to be in that movie. And when you hear this conversation Taylor has about that song, it just gives me goosebumps. It's like, could she actually see into the future here? Just listen to this.
It's a song about greed. It's a song about how somebody could be your best friend and your companion and your most trusted person in your life, and then they could go and become your worst enemy who knows how to hurt you because they were once your most trusted person.
It's the worst.
Writing this song, it kind of occurred to me that in all of the superhero stories, the hero's greatest nemesis is the villain that used to be his best friend. There's this beautiful moment in the beginning of a friendship where these people have no idea that one day they'll hate each other and try to really take each other out. I mean, that's really sad and terrible.
Yeah, I think that says it all. Maybe Taylor Swift could look into the future.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you know, you know.
If you're in the know,
you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Anyways, thank you for being here on a Sunday. I appreciate you guys so much. You have no idea. And thanks for subscribing. And if you haven't, please do and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff. And I'll see you tomorrow. And just a reminder before I go, you can download Love and Pies for free from the link in my description or by clicking this QR code.